Boxing is more than punches and knockouts. It's a roller coaster of emotions that hits us harder than any left hook. From triumph to tragedy, ring heroes to heartbreak, some moments hit so deep they make grown men cry. Grab your tissues, brace yourself, and step into the emotional ring as we count down 10 boxing moments that didn't just stun fans. They left them speechless, breathless, and yes, even tearful. These stories pack a punch you'll never see coming. Dewey Bozella's life is a powerful testament to resilience and unwavering determination. Growing up, tragedy was his shadow. As a child, he witnessed his father beat his pregnant mother to death. And the pain didn't end there. One by one, he lost all 3 of his brothers. One stabbed, one shot, and another passed from AIDS. In 1983, he was wrongfully convicted for the murder of a 92-year-old woman, based solely on fabricated testimonies from jailhouse informants who received favors in return. Dewey spent 26 years in Sing Sing Correctional Facility, where he joined the prison boxing program and became the prison's light heavyweight champion. Throughout his incarceration, he unwaveringly maintained his innocence, repeatedly turning down offers of freedom in exchange for a false confession.
I'll die before I tell you I did it. I can't. You're not gonna make me say something I didn't do. Everything that I stood for, everything would have been taken away from me, everything. I can't live with you or anybody else telling me that I killed an old woman.
In 2009, after nearly 3 decades behind bars and driven by inspiring determination, Dewey and his legal team uncovered prosecutorial misconduct and revealed compelling evidence pointing to another suspect, ultimately securing his freedom.
It's our position that the matter must be dismissed in the interest of justice, and the people so move to dismiss the indictment.
Mr. Bozella is ordered to be released immediately.
2 years later, after walking free at the age of 52, Dewey fulfilled a lifelong dream by becoming a professional boxer, winning his debut fight.
It's the body shots that are doing it, Jim.
His remarkable story of perseverance earned him the prestigious Arthur Ashe Courage Award and continues to inspire countless others.
Dewey never gave up.
Courage comes in many forms. In 1923, it came in the size of a 6-foot, 180-pound man. Billy Miske was diagnosed with a kidney disease and was told he had 5 years left. And that was only if he stopped boxing. But Miske was in debt and wanted to make sure his wife and 3 kids were financially secure. So he ignored the doctor's advice, swore to secrecy with his coach, and kept his family in the dark. For 4 years, he battled in secret, stepping into the ring 22 times, clearing every penny he owed. But with Christmas approaching and despite his crumbling health, he had one last gift left to give. Miske fought one final match and won. His debts cleared, his family secure, and one last Christmas. Billy paid the ultimate price, but left his family safe. Some heroes wear capes. Billy wore gloves. Manny Pacquiao was born with nothing. Raised in poverty so extreme, hunger was his toughest opponent. Sleeping on cardboard boxes, selling donuts on street corners, the boy from the Philippines dreamed the impossible. But boxing became his escape. The skinny kid who fought to survive soon fought to thrive. With lightning-fast hands and a heart that outweighed his tiny frame, Manny climbed weight classes faster than anyone thought possible. One belt turned into 2, 2 turned into 4. Then history was made. Pacquiao became boxing's only 8-division world champion, defying physics, logic, and every odd stacked against him. From street kid to senator, Manny's fists didn't just win titles. They knocked out poverty. Pacquiao's story isn't just boxing. It's a reminder that greatness doesn't care where you started. It only cares how hard you're willing to fight. James Buster Douglas was given no chance, a 42-1 underdog against Mike Tyson, the undefeated, most feared boxer on the planet. Just weeks before the fight, tragedy struck. Douglas lost his mother, but before she passed, he promised her he would win. Everyone doubted him. Everyone said it was impossible. And it looked impossible when Tyson landed a brutal shot that knocked Douglas down hard. Everyone thought it was over.
But then his mom died, and he decided he was going to fuck Mike Tyson up for his mother.
Every boxing expert expected to see here. Rolling willingly just to try to get in the shot that will finish things. Oh, the uppercut. What an uppercut by Douglas. Down goes Tyson.
And they went to Buster Douglas and they asked Buster Douglas simply like, what happened? And Buster Douglas said, listen to me, it's real simple. Before my mother died, she told the whole world that I was gonna beat Mike Tyson. And 2 days before the fight, my mother died. Buster Douglas had a decision to make. When his mother died, he could die with his mother, or he made a decision, I can wake up and I can live for mom. And he knocked Mike Tyson out simply because his why was greater than that punch.
On that night, Buster Douglas proved that no odds are too great when you're fighting for something bigger than yourself. Vinny Pazienza broke his neck in a horrific car crash. He woke up strapped into a metal halo, bolts drilled deep into his skull. But Vinny refused to surrender.
Dr. Carter said to me, and Dr. Carter had a tear in his eye. I could tell he felt for me. And he said, son, I'm sorry to say you're not going to box again. And I looked at him. I said, no, Dr. Carter, you're wrong. I am going to box again. He said, you don't understand what kind of man I am.
With unshakable determination, he secretly trained in his basement, halos still screwed into his head, risking paralysis with every painful movement. Day after day, he rebuilt himself from the inside out, driven by sheer willpower. Just 13 months after the accident, Vinny stepped into the boxing ring once more.
He is on shaky legs. There's the interruption with time. He scores. Rosenblatt is hurt. He's ready to go again. He is on free straight. It's all over. That's the end to win. And then he knocks down the referee. Oh, I can't believe that.
Astonishing the world by winning against all odds. Vinny Paz proved to everyone that no injury, no setback, and no limitation can defeat a heart fueled by unstoppable belief. Prichard Colon was a promising young fighter, talented, determined, with the heart and skill to chase big dreams in boxing. But in October 2015, those dreams turned to nightmare. A series of illegal blows to the back of his head left him disoriented and severely injured. Moments after leaving the ring, Colon collapsed, slipping into a coma. He awoke months later, forever changed, unable to walk, talk, or fight again. Yet his real fight was just beginning. Inch by painful inch, Prichard battled back, relearning how to smile, move, and reconnect with those around him. His tragedy sparked crucial reforms in boxing safety and touched millions around the world. Prichard Colon may never win a championship belt, but he's shown us something far more powerful. A true champion is measured not by the punches thrown, but by the strength it takes to keep fighting when life hits hardest.
Championship. Jay Bell in the white trunks. He's the challenger, and the trunk. And look at this!
A big left hook to the body, right in the solar plexus.
Remember, those are kind of shots that take your leg out, that take your guts out. You can't get up if you want to get up. I mean, that's nothing but a...
Gerald McClellan wasn't just knocking people out. He was erasing them. Fast, brutal. 32 wins, 29 by knockout. They called him the G-Man, short for Goodnight Man. But in 1995, against Nigel Benn, the hunter became the hunted. It was a war.
He's really fired up for this one, and he'll need to be, because this is something.
McClellan dropped Benn early.
Looking for him straight away, Reg, right from the opening bell. He's looking for the finisher.
Stuck him very low, Jim, below the waistline, and he looks as though he's done him in the opening round, and we thought this might happen.
But Benn came back with fire. Round after round, punishment stacked like bricks in a wall.
Defense Pitifully sloppy there, McClellan.
See, then as ducking low as it comes.
Then suddenly McClellan blinked, took a knee. The crowd didn't understand. He wasn't hurt, he was breaking. Seconds later, he collapsed. And just like that, the most feared man in the division was fighting for his life. He survived, but not intact. Gerald McClellan was left blind, nearly deaf, and permanently brain damaged. The fighter who silenced so many now lives in silence himself. No more crowds, no more lights, just quiet. And the loving care of his sister, who's been in his corner every day since. The G-Man's story is the dark side of boxing's brilliance, a reminder that in this sport, glory comes with a price. And sometimes the final bell rings long after the fight is over. Michael Watson stepped into the ring chasing glory, but he left it fighting for his life. In 1991, during a brutal war with Chris Eubank, Watson was seconds away from victory, until one uppercut flipped the script. He collapsed in the ring. No oxygen, no immediate medical support. His body shut down, and so did the world around him. He slipped into a coma for 40 days, 6 brain operations, lost the ability to walk, talk, even feed himself. Most people would have stayed down, but not Michael. He didn't just survive, he fought back, inch by inch, word by word, step by painful step. It took years, but Watson did the impossible. He walked again, and then he ran. Not just anywhere, he completed the London Marathon, 6 days, a man once declared finished, crossing the finish line. Michael Watson never won a world title, but he became something rarer, a symbol of unstoppable human will. He showed us all, the toughest fights aren't won on scorecards. They're won in silence, in struggle, and in the decision to rise, no matter how many rounds it takes. Salvador Sanchez wasn't just great, he was special. The kind of talent that doesn't just win fights, but rewrites what's possible. By 23, he had already dismantled legends. He was a surgeon in gloves, sharp, calm, and deadly. But just as the world started whispering all-time great, fate hit the brakes. In 1982, at the height of his prime, Sanchez, 23 years old, died in a car crash. No warning, no farewell, just silence where greatness was still supposed to echo.
I know a lot of kids out there, love him as well as everybody else out here. And it's bad to see a person, like that go away.
Came in and took the title from me, and I consider myself a pretty good champion at the time, and he came and he showed me he was better. And to hear that he's dead at the age of 23 was hard to take.
All we're left with is the question, how far could he have gone? Salvador Sanchez didn't leave behind a long resume. He left behind a legend, a ghost in boxing history. And sometimes the scariest thing about greatness is how little time it needs to make you feel it. Boxing used to be 15 rounds, until one brutal night changed everything. 1982, Ray Boom Boom Mancini versus Duk-koo Kim. 2 warriors, 1 ring. It was a war, violent, relentless, and heartbreaking. They traded punches like promises, round after round. By the 14th, both were running on pure will. But Kim, battered and fading, took one final shot and collapsed. He never got back up. Days later, he died from brain injuries. His mother took her own life not long after. Even the referee, haunted by what he saw, would later end his life too. That fight didn't just take a life, it shook the soul of the sport. And because of it, championship bouts were changed from 15 rounds to 12. Duk-koo Kim's name isn't followed by belts or records, but it echoes in every final bell that now rings 3 rounds sooner. A fighter gave everything that night, and left behind a legacy written not in gold, but in caution and in sacrifice. If any of these powerful stories grabbed your attention and you want to see a full video on them, drop a comment below and let us know. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button